We've got a vampire story on our hands. Spooky story time. A follower named Monica sent me the story and we're gonna call it UPS Driver. So Monica says that she's been hearing a lot of vampire stories coming from New Orleans and she wants to be 100% clear that she is not from New Orleans. But she doesn't want me to say where she's from because she just... So she says that she's lived in this home for about 6 years and she owns a small business. So she's constantly getting packages from UPS and it's always the same driver doing the same route. She did say the driver's name and his name is Alex. One particular day she was expecting a large order. She gets it. Alex rings the doorbell. She's like, hey, and he has a few packages with him. She grabs them, puts them inside her house. He has one that's not extremely big, but it was pretty heavy. So he has it on the dolly, and because Monica has said that she's known Alex for a while now, she said, hey, mind putting that inside my house? Didn't wait for him to answer. She just kind of kept walking, opens the door. He has the dolly, but he kind of just stands there at the doorway. She's talking away and she asks if he wants water because it's very hot. She turns around and Alex is still at the entryway. So she's like, do you mind putting the box right here? And he's like, oh yeah, it's very hot. Of course, yes, if I can get a water. Completely ignoring what she's saying. So she's like, you can come in. You can, if you don't mind. Once she said, you can come in, he lets himself in. She didn't think anything crazy was going on immediately. She was like, okay, great. Thank you so much. Here's your water. Stay hydrated. I'll see you next time. Not until that night, she's scrolling on TikTok and she comes across this story of a vampire. And in this story, the person telling it is very clear and says that whoever this was had to be invited into whatever space. So Monica is like, interesting. I was talking to Alex and he was completely disregarding what I was saying. I asked him if he can put this package in my house, completely ignored me until I said, you can come in. Do you mind putting this package in my living room? And she says immediately she got chills. She's like, okay, what is going on? And ever since then, she felt that Alex started acting different towards her. Did do her route for maybe 2 more drop-offs and then someone else took over, I guess. She never saw Alex again. She says that she doesn't want to reach and doesn't want to be like, oh yeah, that was a vampire. She's like, what are the coincidences? Like, you know what I mean? What do you guys think? Do you think he was just nervous to go inside her house? Or do you think that this guy was a vampire? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much, Monica, for sending me this spooky story. If you guys have any other stories you'd like me to read, please send them via DM or email, and I'd love to read them. And if you guys like all things spooky, all things scary, and all things paranormal, make sure you follow.
So I thought I would deliver a wholehearted story time from what happened to me last night at 1:17 a.m. And I know it was that time because, well, I went to bed at about midnight. I was watching The Godfather, which I've never watched in my entire life, guiltily, so I was like, okay, I gotta watch this. Then I wake up at 1:17 a.m. because I look at my phone and I'm like, oh my god, it's 1:17. What was that noise? Because I heard a noise. I was like, what? It sounded like something fell on the ground. I'm like, I'm the only person home, so like, this is terrifying. But I was also really tired because, I think I had just gotten into my sleep. And so I actually don't want to get up and look at this, even if it's an intruder in the house. But then I was like, I have to go see what happened. And then I thought to myself, oh my god, 2 months ago, I set a mouse trap, and that mouse trap was behind the mirror in my room. And I'm like, I think that the mouse trap just went off. And because I think I maybe heard scurrying or something as the mouse was potentially trying to get back down the air vent that it'll sometimes emerge from. And sure as shit, I get up, turn on the lights, look, and we have a dead mouse. Head broken in by the mouse trap. And well, I, put it in a plastic bag, threw it in the garbage, decided not to feed it to Banana Boy or Roger because you don't really know about these mice around here. They could be dirty. So I didn't give it to them. But the mouse trap went off. So even if it's set for 2 months, you might still get one.
Let's read another scary story that was sent to us. A few years ago when I was in middle school, I was about 12 or 13, my older brother and I would walk home from school back to my grandparents' house that isn't far from there. We would stay there for a couple of hours until our dad picked us up because our house was much further away. This one day that we got back to our grandparents' house, nobody was home. When we got in, my brother went into the living room and laid on the couch, and I went and sat at the kitchen bench with my laptop. When we walked in, I watched my brother jump on the couch and take a nap with a blanket on him, so it would not have been him who I had seen later. Anyway, I was playing around on Photo Booth on my laptop when I saw something or someone behind me. About 5 to 6 meters away, standing right at the bottom of the staircase to my back, there was a silhouette of a person on the screen. I took the filter that was on my computer off, thinking that that's what made it look like a person was there, but it remained. I don't know why I didn't turn back. I just kept staring at the screen, so I took a picture with no filter. When I looked at the photo of this thing in the dark corner of the room at the bottom of the staircase, I decided to turn back and, you guessed it, nothing was there. I was so confused in the moment, not scared at all though, oddly, but I was sure that I saw what I saw. I thought that my brother was messing with me, so I went to go ask him if that was him standing in the picture, but he was asleep when I asked him, and he woke up so confused, wondering why I'd asked that. He messed with me all the time, but on this one occasion he truly seemed genuine, and he was in the same spot I had seen him in when he went to the couch. Later that afternoon, my cousin in her early 20s, who was living there at the time, came home. I showed her the picture and it was blurry because of how dark this part of the house was, but it was clear that someone was standing there. I've always been into spooky stuff and spirits, so I asked her on that topic, and she's all into that too. And she said that her mom, and her sister have seen and heard some really odd things, saying they always saw something at the corner of their eye and a shadow standing at the bottom of the staircase. Possibly a woman, and thumping coming from upstairs when nobody is there. Like loud thumping. The house isn't super old, built in the 60s or 70s, but there's an attic that holds all of my nan and pop's old belongings, old dolls and heirlooms. And some of these things are really, really old, going back to mid-1800s. I don't know who or what it was, but I've never seen anything since then. Though when my cousin just a couple years ago had a kid, on the baby cam still living at the house, she saw some unexplainable things such as the blanket on the bed being rolled over her kid while he was sleeping and tugging of the blanket out of nowhere. That house is definitely haunted, and I can't help but wonder if maybe some of those like heirlooms are haunted. I don't know. But they think that maybe the spirit is a woman and they saw something or someone covering the baby up with the blanket. Maybe she's not a bad spirit. I don't know. What do y'all think?
Boom! Story time on how I found out my brethren's mum is a biz head. Biz head of biz heads. Biz head galore. Yeah? So let me give man the rundown. So since year 11, man used to see bare youths in and out of my brethren's yard, innit? But you're young, you don't really think of it too much. You're just thinking, yeah, family, da. So it gets to first year college now. I see the same youths every day, cause our college was right next to his crib, innit? So I see the same youths every day, just in and out. Then I start questioning them. I'm like, yo, my bro, who's these youths? He just say family, innit? Cool, I don't blame him, say family. Boom, now, second year college hit. This is when I get my SIA badge. I'm working at Tesco now, innit? I'm working at Tesco. Them youths come in the shop, they're like, my brother, I'm not saying my name. They come in, they slam me. I'm like, yeah, my brothers, yeah. Make sure man don't shoplifting before I have to do you man in. Cool now. Then man start buying baking soda. They buy a Pyrex bowl. And they buy cling film. I'm just there watching the cameras in shock. Because it all adds up now. These three black youths have no business chilling in my brethren's Asian's mum yard. You get what I'm trying to say? So all this makes sense. His mom's a bizhead! And since then, he ain't joined a PS4 party ever again.
Very creepy ghost story for you now, guys. And it involves 3 young lads, and it goes back to the 1980s, and they were about 13 years old at the time. So they lived in this area where there was some haunted woods, so say haunted woods, and it was apparently haunted by 2 little girls. And back in the 1800s, these 2 little girls had gone into the forest with their father on a fishing trip. The father had come back mid-trip, running through the town saying that his 2 little girls had gone missing. Couldn't find them anywhere. Anyway, weeks later, sadly, the 2 little girls' bodies were found, and obviously not alive. So the forest was renowned for being haunted by these 2 little girls. Nobody would camp in this forest. Nobody would even walk through it. They were terrified. Apparently people had seen these children, these 2 little girls wandering through the forest, and they said bad things happened when you saw these little girls.
Let me tell you a story about one woman who decided she would not do hairdressing again. She walked into my salon, and when she shared her story, showing me her crooked ring finger, even me, I was shaking. So yesterday, a woman walked into my salon. She looked like she was in her 40s. She was very humble and calm. I didn't know she was a hairdresser. So she came and she told me the hairstyle she wanted to do, and then we started the hair. So, starting with her hair, she realized I was very friendly, and she told me somebody recommended me to her. But then she knows I am a storyteller, so she wants to share her story so that I can share it to everyone. So she first showed me her finger, and she was like, "What do you think happened to my finger?" And I was like, "Maybe you hit something or you fell." She said, "No, it was this job. So I am also telling you so that you will be very careful." So as I began parting her hair, she continued talking. She told me she used to be a hairdresser, a very good one at a man from. People from far and near come to her shop to come do their hair. But one day there was this particular woman that came to her shop that she wanted to get her braids done, that she has heard that she does cornrows very well. So she came to try her. She said the woman was dressed in all black, but very unsettling. The moment the woman sat in her chair, the atmosphere changed, but she did not listen to her own body signs. And the moment she started braiding for the woman, her whole body froze. She said she still ignored the sign and she continued braiding until she got to the middle part and she saw something in the woman's hair and she picked it out. You are braiding, so you have seen something foreign in the person's hair. You wouldn't even think negatively. She just picked it and took it out. Then the woman that she was braiding was like, "Oh, I like your hand. I can see you are very gifted. Can I borrow them?" And they all laughed about it. But she meant it. Why would someone tell me that I want to borrow your hand and you take it as a joke? After she was done braiding the woman's hair, the woman left. And then, just like that, her hand started paining her. And by morning, that place has swollen and she could not braid anymore. She had to stop working for a very long time. She has looked for cure so many different places. There is no place that she hasn't gone to look for cure. She has gone to herbalists, she has gone to pastors, and they are all saying that is the same woman. But till today, her finger is still not straight. When she showed me, it was something like this. Since that time till today, because of that, she has closed her shop and she's no longer doing the hairdressing work. She even added that she got pregnant and she miscarried like twice after that incident and her hand. So, to every hairdresser out there, pray over your business and your hands. Not everybody that sits in your chair is human. Some are there to test you and some are there to ruin your business. Before you leave your house, you pray over your work before you come to, hey, this world is very spiritual. Spiritual attacks can come from anywhere, from envy, from jealousy. You might not know because you were so popular, everybody knows you do a good job. So they will do anything to ruin your business. Now that they have made her close her shop, what did they gain from it? What did they gain from it? Let's all be guided out there.
Let's read some more scary stories that were sent to us. I don't have a soda today, but I do have a drinkable yogurt. Have y'all ever had this before? These are so good. I like the mango one better, actually. But 30 grams of protein? Fire. Me and my parents lived in a relatively small apartment in Austria. The windows in my parents' room faced the street. So one night when I was 13 at around 3 o'clock, my mom woke up thinking that someone was ringing the door to the house. She brushed it off because she didn't continue hearing it after she woke up. She went to go get a glass of water and then she went back to her room. For some reason, my dad, who is a very deep sleeper, was also waking up. My mom asked him if he had heard the rings too, and he said yes. Suddenly, the ringing began again. For around 10 continuous minutes, the doorbell rang. My parents decided to look outside their window, but they couldn't see anybody. As soon as they walked away from the window, someone started knocking on it frantically. My parents called a few people, like for instance my grandparents, to see if it was them, but it wasn't. The knocking on the door and the window continued for around 40 more minutes. The creepiest part is that the next day, the front door lock was broken, and around that time many break-ins had happened in our area. This person also sent me a second story. When I was young, around 4 years old, I had to go to the toilet at night, so my mom took me to the toilet because I was too scared to go alone. While I was in the bathroom, my mom stood in front of our backyard door, which is made of glass. It was winter and there was a lot of snow. Suddenly, my mom noticed huge footprints in the snow and an imprint of a face on the glass door, as if someone had pressed their face against the door to look inside. Okay, y'all know that like home invasions are my worst nightmare, so these are terrifying. I would have a heart attack if someone was knocking on my door in the middle of the night, and I would have a heart attack and then move out if I saw an imprint of somebody's face on my glass door. Absolutely not.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Okay, yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
Testing again. I don't know what is happening, but everything is charged up. Everything is like sound off on here. I don't know, but this is now my 4th attempt at reading this story and making sure that TikTok actually records the sound. I feel like this is like a haunted story. I really hope that this ghost doesn't come for me. The house we lived in on Del Monte Avenue was so haunted. Goose, excuse you, sir. Actually, 2 houses on Del Monte. The first one has been demolished and an apartment complex was built on the land. I am the oldest of 4. At the time, I was about 5 years old. Brothers were 4 and 3, and my sister was 2. We were all playing in the backyard, and my mom walked out the back door, down the driveway, and went across the alley. Yes, there was an alley back then. She walked next door, and she said she'll be right back. Now, my mom is 4'11", brown Mexican woman. A little later, we saw a tall blonde bride walk up the driveway, and she turned her head left towards us and said to us, "No se vayan a lastimar mi hijos." We all said, "Okay, mommy." She walked right into our screened porch and into our laundry room, which only had one way in and one way out. And we kept playing as if nothing unusual happened. Then our real mom walked up the driveway. We stopped and looked at each other and realized at the same time that blonde bride was not our mom. We all ran to tell her and filled her into the laundry room, and no one was there. The scary part was this happened during the day. Hope this wasn't too long. I always love long stories, and I'm hoping so bad that this 4th attempt recorded this. Also, I don't speak Spanish, but I kind of think that that means I don't want to hurt my children, or I can't hurt my children. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, or if you have a similar story, send it my way.
If you were randomly walking one day and then you saw this specific house in front of you, then what do you want me to tell you, bro? I'm sorry, count your days, it's over. Because in this house right here, the same exact house happened one of the scariest and most terrifying stories you'll ever hear. It all started in 1817 with a guy called John Bell. You see, John Bell was a guy who had a family and a house and a big-ass backyard. So one day he was chilling in that backyard, and then out of nowhere, a creature appeared in front of him. And this creature who appeared out of nowhere was horrifying. I mean, it didn't even look real. If you're asking why, well, because it had the body of a dog, but the head of a rabbit. So when John saw this thing, obviously he was shocked, but then he was like, hold on. Story happened in America, by the way, so when John saw the creature, he didn't hesitate to pull the fully upgraded, customized shotgun and then shoot the creature. So John shot the creature as soon as he saw it, but the problem is the creature didn't go unalived, it simply disappeared. Yes, and this is where everything starts. Because later that day, or more specifically at night, and when John came back to his house, him and his family started hearing unfamiliar stuff. What I mean by unfamiliar stuff is the knocking on the walls and the scratching sounds all over the house. So the family continuously heard these noises, but they couldn't explain it. So they were like, okay, maybe something is wrong with the walls. But soon enough, everything will change, because you see, John had kids, and his kids, each time they went to sleep and woke up the next day, they noticed something. The kids will simply discover that their bed covers are being yanked off, removed. Another way to say it, meanwhile they're sleeping, somebody else is messing up with their beds. So this was weird as hell, and I'll let you imagine how creepy it is. But you know what? After all, this could happen. When you sleep, you sometimes move a lot, so the bed cover can be moved from its place. So the family again was like, meh. What happened next changed everything. The family couldn't say shit after seeing it. Remember the kids of John? Yes, he had so many of them. Well, every single one of them was getting hit and slapped. Whoa, what's wrong with the parents? Well, let me tell you, that was not the parents. The kids were getting hit, slapped, or even hair pulled by some invisible hands. Got to a point where the kids got red marks everywhere, especially the youngest daughter, Betsy. See, Betsy was the youngest daughter, the little kid. She couldn't defend herself or even run from these hits, so whoever was doing this was targeting her. This is where the whole family were like, nah, we can't let this happen. Invisible hands, a whole fucking ghost. A few weeks later, the whole family heard a voice that echoed all over the house. The voice sounded like an old woman talking, and it basically said one sentence. It said, I wanna unalive John Bell. So when John heard that, I can tell you that he reacted like, bro, why the hell me? What the hell did I do? In that moment, John remembered that something happened with him and his property a few weeks ago. When the family heard that voice, they were desperate for help, so they started calling everyone, even neighbors, hoping for something. When the story started being heard of, neighbors talked about it so much to the point where it became popular. The story became so known to a point where even the president of the USA heard of it. As the US president himself at that time, whose name was Andrew Jackson, heard the story and he was like, nah, these people are capping. So everybody convinced him. They were like, nah, it's real. I saw it. We saw it. Their kids are getting tossed around. You better go there to see what's happening. So the president's response was like, okay, bet, you know what? Take me to that house. When the president made it to the house, he was like, nah, every single one of you is lying. Can't you see that I'm the president? I got stuff to do. Hold on, let us see. Okay? As soon as he entered the house, the same voice that spoke to the family said something again. This time it said, you can go, Jackson, but I'll see some of you later. So when the President Jackson heard that, he was like, oh no, I'm not staying one more second in this thing. Bring the private jet right now. But sir, it's 1817, there is no private jets yet. Can you please do me a favor, shut the fuck up and bring anything that can get me out of here? Thank you. By 1820, mysteriously and strangely, John became so sick. He was normal one day, then the other day he couldn't walk anymore. And then one morning he was found unconscious with a mysterious black liquid beside him. This is where the voice said something again. It said, I gave him that, he will never get up again. Message to the voice, okay, come on bro, it's not that deep. Okay, he flexed his gun on you and shot you immediately, but you didn't have to do him like that. John got unalived shortly after, and that voice kept singing and laughing at his funeral. If you made it until here, then thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story, and most importantly, watch yourself tonight. And another thing, from now on, I will start streaming on TikTok, so whenever you see me live, come and say hi, and I'll be reading your messages, so see you there.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
Let's get ready together while I talk to you guys about the scariest Uber experience I ever had. But this happened the last time I was here in LA, and that was like 3 years ago, and I'm back again, which is why I kind of remembered that it happened. I was visiting LA with my best friend, and on this particular day, we had gone to Disneyland. It was me and her, and we went with a couple of friends. One of them was a guy, let's call him John. Disney in LA is like really far, and we were staying closer to downtown, so it was kind of like a really far Uber. We wrapped up Disney pretty late at night. We stopped by a convenience store, and at this point it was just me, her, and John decided to call an Uber for us. We were all so exhausted. Like, we were at Disney for a full day, and my friend and I actually got extremely sunburned. Because we were suffering so bad and so tired, we did not check the credentials
of the Uber driver. It's the one time that it did not cross any of our minds to check on the driver's ratings or how many rides he's done. Always double check the driver. At this point, I think it was like 11 or 12 p.m. and we're in this parking lot just waiting for the driver, and he pulls up in this like sort of janky little car. Get into the car, and this is when things start to get weird. This entire little sedan was covered in towels. All of the seats, like the back seat was covered in towels, lined with these towels. Same with the front seat, and the driver is here, and in his passenger seat was a huge stack of towels. I'm like, what is this guy cleaning up with all of these towels? Like, why does he need all this? So immediately I was like, that's fucking weird. And he also like doesn't greet us or anything. We just hop in, and he looks pissed, like vividly unhappy that me and my friend got into this car. And I was like, the fuck? He starts hitting the road. So we're driving, and this driver is just looking more and more frustrated. He was just starting to like huff and puff. He was like opening the window, just sighing, and I was just like, do we smell bad or like what's going on? And then he starts driving faster and faster, and he's like going pretty fast, and I'm like, okay, well, he can't wait to get us out of this car. It feels a little bit scary that he's like driving so fast, but at least we're gonna get home sooner because we're so tired. Driving on the highway, headed back to LA, so we thought, and the driver proceeds to take this random exit. And on the highway, you can like see downtown, so I could see that we're really far away from downtown, and this man is exiting. And I was like, so I'm like, okay, maybe he's taking like some local route to take us back home. I don't know. And then I checked the front. He doesn't even have that Uber GPS on his phone. Like, he's not following a GPS. And at this point, I'm like, I'm starting to get scared. Finally, bitch. He takes the exit, and we are suddenly in this really quiet, empty industrial area. It was like big lots of industrial buildings or stores. I don't really know. But basically nobody was there. He picks a random lot and pulls into it, stops his car, and goes, get out. And obviously me and my friend are like, sorry, what? Like, we're not at the destination. Like, is there something wrong? And he is silent. So it's like silence for I don't even know how long, like 10-15 seconds. At this point, I'm sweating, I'm freaking out. My friend is freaking out, obviously. He's like visibly upset, distraught, frustrated. We're just like sitting there in silence with this guy, and he goes, get out right now. And at this point, we have two options, okay? We look outside at where this man is telling us to get off, and it's the middle of nowhere. No other cars on the road, huge industrial lots, right? Or we can choose to stay in this car lined full of towels with this guy who clearly fucking hates us. So the options are not looking great, but considering this guy might actually turn around and stab us, I was like, to my girlfriend, I was like, we need to get off. Like, let's get off right now. So we quickly grab our shit, we get off the car, he like books it away, and we're standing in the middle of nowhere by ourselves, freaking out. At this point, I was so convinced that we were about to get trafficked. I'm like, that guy was dropping us off, and now someone's gonna come pick us up any second. My friend is obviously freaking out as well. She's calling her boyfriend. I feel like we should have called the cops realistically, but instead I called another Uber and prayed that it got to us before anybody else did. A lot of stupid decisions on our part. Obviously, we did not do what we were supposed to do to keep ourselves safe. Should have called the cops. We just wanted to get away from there as soon as we could. So luckily our Uber got here before anybody else did. Luckily our second Uber was a trusted guy who had a lot of reviews and took us home. To this day, I feel like we were so lucky to make it home safe. Truly, our lives were just in his hands. Like, he could have done whatever he wanted with us, and part of me feels like he spared us. My theory is that this guy might be somebody that targets guys or boys, and that's why he picked up the Uber from our friend John. I feel like that's why he was so upset to see my friend and I get in the car, and probably the whole time he was debating whether to kill us or just to like drop us off somewhere. To this day, we have no idea what happened with that guy. We did report it, didn't hear anything back about it, but it was very scary. I truly realized how scary it actually is taking Ubers and Lyfts. Like, your life is literally in the hand of the driver, and it is so important to take every precaution to protect yourself. We did not do that, but ever since that day, I have been so diligent about checking the ratings on my Uber driver, checking their experience, and keeping an eye on the map while I'm in my ride, obviously to make sure that we are on the right track to the proper destination. You always hear about these stories where people are getting into situations with Uber drivers and stuff, and they're so scary, but you never think it's going to happen to you. And I feel like it is important to spread awareness that it could genuinely happen to anybody at any time. It's so important to just be diligent and aware and know how to protect yourself as much as you can. Stay safe out there, guys. It is a crazy world out there. Like, we don't even know. Anyways, thanks for watching. Love you.